IBEST bring you Cambridge Standard. When do people give presents in Vietnam?
Well, actually, there are many occasions in Vietnam where people can give each other gifts. Actually, most of them, it's for the male to give the females gifts.
Why?
Well, because in Vietnam we kind of demand gender equality, and by saying that, they think that the female deserves more. So, and on occasions like the Vietnamese Women's Day, and then there's another Women's Day, it's the International Women's Day, and then there's Valentine's Day, which is actually supposed to be two-way, like the females can give the male gifts too, but it's always the other way around.
Do you think presents are really important for people?
Well, it's not like a matter of life and death, but it is somewhat important, like in the aspect of mental. Sorry, I just can't think of the word. Mm-hmm. It's like enjoyment, I guess.
Mm. And when did you last give or receive a present?
Well, it's actually been too long that I'm having a hard time to remember, but I'll just talk about my last Christmas gift. I'm actually considered to be a little bit too old to receive Christmas gift now, but my mom gave it to me anyway. It's a pair of house slippers shaped like a mouse.
Let's talk now about sport. How much sport do you and your family do?
Well, we don't actually do much sports because my family is more of a reading books type, indoor type, reading books and watching TVs. So we've never really been into sports. But the good thing is my brother recently joined a soccer club for kids in Hanoi.
Why?
He just took a sudden interest in it after seeing the World Cup, I guess. And he got all excited and asked my dad to get me into a soccer club and like that.
Do you think school children should have to do sport?
Well, definitely, yes. It's sports in general. It's like exercising. It's good for their health, and it helps them. It helps them to develop skills like teamwork skills and achieving goals.
So, do you think team or individual sports are better for people?
Definitely team
Why?
sports. Well, for individual sports, I just don't see that you can actually learn much from it as much as team sports, I suppose.
Why not?
Because individual sport, you're just working, you're just doing it all for yourself, you know. It's a bit, I don't know, I can't say selfish, but you know what I mean.
Now I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes.
Yes.
Before you talk, you have a minute to think about what you're going to say and you can make some notes. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, there's your paper and pencil for making your pen and making the notes. And here's your topic. I'd like you to describe a city you enjoyed visiting. Minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now?
Okay. I'm going to talk about Melbourne in Australia, in South Australia. I had a chance to go there in about November last year. Actually, my mom went on a business trip there, so I kind of tag along because she was going to. She intended for me to go there, like to study, because my uncle lives there now. So I went there for about 10, 11 days, and It was actually an eye-opening trip. I saw a lot of new things and learned a lot of new things, and most importantly, the whole purpose of the trip there is for me to see if I can adapt to the atmosphere and environment there, so I can live and work there afterwards. And Melbourne is a great city. I recently read an article that says that Melbourne is the most friendly city it's the most friendly city in Australia, actually. And I had a chance to stay there with my uncle, and I saw how people live there, and the whole the Vietnamese neighborhood there is called Footscray, and it was great, actually. I almost felt like home, except for the old European buildings. Anyway. I also went sightseeing a lot, and the most memorable place for me was the Melbourne Zoo. It was because...
Thank you. Do you enjoy visiting other places generally?
Well, definitely, because everything was new and it was grand and beautiful.
Thank you. May I have the question paper and your notes? Thank you very much. So, you've been talking about a place you visited that you enjoyed. I'd like to talk a little bit more about more general questions related to this. Let's think about living in cities. Tell me what you think are the advantages for people who live in cities compared to people living in the countryside.
Well, now that our country is much more developed, there isn't much. There aren't many differences between living in the city and the countryside, but there are still some ultimate advantages of living in the city. Like I think the most important advantages is that first-hand access to medical services, and also in general the education system in the city is much better than in the countryside.
Why is that, do you think?
I think it's because in the city we have a lot of means of getting information, like the internet and other tools to help aid education. We have projectors, screens, computers.
What other advantages do you think there are besides medical and educational issues?
The road system, traffic, because in countryside, even recently, there are many accidents caused by the very dangerous road system, like dirt road, and they don't have actual bridges. They have like bamboo shoots just crossing the river like that, and many people had accidents, and there were many injuries and deaths because of that.
So do you think there are any negative aspects for people living in cities nowadays?
Well, everything has two sides of it. So the most severe problem for people living in the city is the environment. The environment here is much polluted compared to the countryside, because of the fumes of the transportation and fumes of and because of the glass buildings, glass buildings.
How do glass buildings create pollution or cause problems?
They don't actually cause pollution, but they cause global warming.
Are there any other problems apart from traffic pollution?
Yes, there's also problems because people living in the city has a lot of pressure, like constant pressure. They have to worry about work and then family and living expenses, and they have kids to look after, and it's just a whole lot of stress, you know.
What do you think will be the problems for people living in cities in the future? Let's say 30 or 50 years from now.
Well, as life goes on, I don't suppose that these problems will be, the problems that I mentioned earlier will decrease. I think they'll actually increase with time, and the way that society is developing now will even increase them even more in the future.
So you're not very optimistic about people living in cities in the future?
You can say that, because I wouldn't call it pessimistic. I'd say that I'm being realistic about the future.
Do you think there might be a movement of people from city to countryside rather than countryside to city?
In the near future, no, but maybe, like you said, in 30 or 40 years, maybe that is possible, because the air in the city would have been, the air would be filled with pollution and pressure and invisible stress.
Thank you. That's the end of the speaking test.